Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to Season 6 of my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. It's so good to be back, and one thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are and get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. My first guest for this season is a man who has a wonderfully varied CV and a pioneer in our sports media. Starting out as a sports reporter, he went on to become the first ever All Blacks media man. He's been a telly host, creator and producer. He created shows like 90s cult hit Sports Cafe, you already know it is now, also sports news show The Crowd Goes Wild. He's recently returned from the US where he was CEO of New York's professional rugby union team, and that is probably only touching the surface, so let's talk more about it. For his latest project, he's brought back Sports Cafe, this time in podcast form with Sports Cafe-ish. Ric Salizzo, hi.
Hi, how are you?
How was that?
Yeah, that's good. It's a lot more impressive than I really am, but that sounded good.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's what we do, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know. So thanks for writing that all out for me.
Good,
I just thought I'd, read it out on the.
Yeah, it was a bit longer, but you've missed the page, but that's cool.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, we'll get to it as we sort of go in. So I'm going to ease in. First, some quick-fire questions. Yep. If you could go to the pub with any celebrity, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. My growing up, my hero was Nadia Comaneci, the Romanian gymnast, and I mentioned
How would
that.
it not be?
Because she's about the same age, and so I was a 14-year-old kid watching the 76 Montreal Olympics. So I mentioned that to Mark, and he's been giving me grief for the last year about it. So that would be my celebrity.
There will be some young men out there now that in 40 years' time will say Simone.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because she was.
When you think about, the idea of a perfect 10, well, she did several perfect 10s.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And I think fascinating, she had a fascinating life, being brought up in Romania and then going over to the US and stuff like that. Yeah, she'd be cool.
Yeah, she would be really. Oh, see, unexpected that one.
And then if we couldn't get in, she could sort of jump and climb and stuff, get into the top floor.
She could somersault over.
So she'd be really handy in the pub.
Yeah, and then even somersault back with a drink probably and not spill a drop.
Exactly.
Yeah. We presume she can still do it at 60, but
you
know. Okay, then what would the drink of choice be?
I'm Steinlager. I'm pretty...
You're pretty easy. It's not that. It's not that fancy, is it?
Yeah, I did. I lived in Austin, Texas for a year, and I really started to appreciate mezcal and tequila. But not like we drink tequila it's 4 o'clock in the morning and we just have some shots. They'll just put it on ice and sip it and it'll be nice. And I really enjoy a nice mezcal, actually.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
I'm currently on a hunt for the perfect Bloody Mary.
Right.
Because I think that, with all respect, it's my podcast, people are bastardising them.
Right. Right.
They're getting too fancy. They're trying to modernise them. I can't get to the drink through the frickin' stupid garnish.
No. Whose idea was it to put garnish in a drink?
It's just like...
I actually want a drink, not a salad.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll have a drink and a salad separately.
No, I had one the other day. It had 3 different types, like a gherkin, a bloody olive, a something else, and salami.
Oh, yeah, no.
Too much.
We should report that person to the police.
We should really,
Yeah.
Favourite bar, pub, restaurant in the world?
In the world?
Yeah, well, you've been all over the world.
That's a good question. There's one of my favourite restaurants is a restaurant in New York called Beauty and Essex. Beauty
and
Essex.
And Essex.
So it's on Essex Street.
Okay.
Or Beauty Street, one of them. The cool thing about it is it's in New York they have a lot of speakeasies, so they're hidden behind something else, the restaurant.
Yeah.
So you walk in and there's a secondhand, pawn shop, and you walk in there and there's all this old stuff and it's tiny, and you sort of go, oh, where's the restaurant? And then they open the door and bam, there's this massive restaurant in behind it, and the food's unbelievable. One of the things that they make is a Ferris wheel dessert, so they put all these different desserts in the Ferris wheel and you spin it around. But I told a mate that we'd meet them there, and he was a Kiwi coming over to New York, and he walked up and down the road for about half an hour trying to find the place because it's not a restaurant.
Yeah.
It was a pawn shop.
But did you say second-hand pawn shop?
Yeah, when I say pawn shop, I don't mean sort of like the sort of place that Mark Ellis will go. I'm talking about a second-hand shop where you can buy old stuff, and they call them pawn shops.
Oh, pawn as in W.
Yeah. But I can't say pawn.
There's something wrong with me that
Yeah.
I was absolutely, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want.
That's the whole idea of the restaurant, going to the wrong place. So,
Because I think the pawn with an R is entirely people's choices, but I think I would be judgy on the second-hand part of that.
Yeah, second-hand porn. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a big market. I don't know. I've never been to a second-hand porn shop,
No.
With an R.
No.
But I have been to a second-hand pawn shop, as in like chess piece.
Well, all pawn shops are second-hand, aren't they? Have we gone down a rabbit hole now?
Yeah.
We have
second-hand
completely.
rabbit hole. Yeah.
Okay. Varied career, that's what we've talked about. And so we're going to talk about that a bit later on. But let's talk about, so Sports Cafe is back, kind of.
Yep.
Right? So why a podcast? Why did you bring it back?
I caught up with Mark during the Rugby World Cup in Paris. I caught up with him. He was over there. And I hadn't been home for a while. And I really enjoyed talking to him. We had a lot of fun. We were in hysterics. And then when I got back to New Zealand, I caught up with Lee Hart.
Yeah.
Same thing, Lana as well. And I just really enjoyed their company. And I said, well, why don't we do something,
Yeah.
And originally it was going to be called the Has Been Cafe. But then we thought, why don't we just do it, use our old name, because that will help us get an audience.
Yeah.
And it's just fun. It's just, for us, it's just an opportunity to get together and have fun. And that's what we miss.
And, I mean, like, Sports Cafe itself was, 1996?
96.
So about 2011? A bit of a break?
Yeah, we stopped in 2005. I just thought that enough. And then I got a call one night at like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was Mark, and he was out in Ponsonby Road. And he's like, I've got the lady from TVNZ. I just bumped into her in a bar, and she wants us to bring Sports Cafe back, and I told her you won't do it. So,
tell her.
And then she got on the phone, and she's like, why don't you bring it back? And I said, look, just, it had its time and blah, 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 blah. Oh, no, bring it back. Come and see me, And so we brought it back in 2008.
Best decisions at 3 in the morning, right?
Yeah. And it was fun. But we did it for a long time, and it just got to the point where it was time to stop.
Yeah.
But now it feels really
But it was hugely successful. And you mentioned when you were talking about bumping into the old crew and then deciding you'd all get back together again, is part of its success that it is good mates that have that share a sense of humour, that can have a great laugh together.
I think, the worst thing you can do is try and be funny.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to be funny, we're just being ourselves. And some of them are really funny. So it's really, and when we started Sports Cafe, I mean, it was a pretty small show to start with.
Yeah.
And it was just, I'd finished doing the All Black job. I knew that that's how sports people talk to each other. I'd spent a long time on the road with them, and it wasn't quite the way that interviews were done. So I thought, why don't recreate life on the road into a chat show? And at that stage, there'd never been a successful New Zealand chat-based show. I think Bob Jones tried one. I mean, there'd been a few tries. Neil Roberts tried one, and they'd never quite worked. And there was always this sort of perception that we couldn't do humour and we couldn't do chat shows. And I was like, oh, well, that's fine. We'll just we'll call it something else, you know. And so and it's just. I think the beauty of Sports Cafe is it's just a group of mates talking to each other. So
here you are back, and like tech's changed.
Yep.
So the way we get and watch and consume our entertainment has changed dramatically. But equally what's changed is society's acceptability of certain things as well. Have you noticed, I mean, we're in a very different world from 1996.
People haven't changed.
No.
There's a layer above them that's changed, a layer of rule setters and someone wrote a piece, I can't even remember where it was, when we came back saying, oh, the last thing we need is this sort of blokey crap, back again. And I was like that's cool. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Yeah. Like it's really easy to be a critic, because if you don't like something, you have the ability not to watch it. So it's really simple. Like I don't know why people get offended by stuff that they watch, because if they don't like it, they shouldn't watch it or listen to it. And there's stuff that annoys me. Lots of stuff that annoys me. I don't consume it.
No.
It's
So
pretty
do
easy.
you moderate at all then, do you think? Do you think you, or have you, maybe, well, I was going to say maybe you've all grown up a bit, but we had a conversation before we turned the mics on, and you're still 24, aren't you?
Yeah, 25.
Yeah, okay.
I think I'm in horror a lot of the things that are said during the show every week. And Mark in particular loves seeing me squirm.
Yeah.
So he'll go to places that he knows make me feel uncomfortable, and he enjoys that, and the audience enjoy, because they always side with him. But we're pretty. I wouldn't say we're careful. That's not fair. But we're aware. I mean, Mac has got and Lee has got a good sense of, pushing the boundaries, but being good people.
Yeah. I was going to say, they've got families themselves.
Yeah.
And, even your own kids temper you a bit, right?
And I've got Lana sitting next to me, and I can just tell from the look that she's searing through my head that, we're going into the wrong space.
Yeah.
But what's fun is, what I really enjoy about the show is when, say, two people are going off into a direction, and I might feel uncomfortable, and then I get sucked into it, and then I start going with them into that direction because I start getting amused by where they're going, and then Lana will pull me back, or Lana might get sucked into the conversation and I pull her back. So that's the fun. That's when it's fun.
Yeah. So are we more easily offended these days?
I think there's a group of people that work on being offended.
Yeah.
They're sort of they're finding things, to mock outrage. It's like, oh, this is terrible. How dare they? And as I say, I mean, I don't really get sort of annoyed by too much stuff, because I just don't watch the stuff that annoys me.
Well, but then I get annoyed and I'm offended, but I'm offended at how much everything's bloody watered down and you can't say what you really think. And so you're right, but then that means I pretty much I can't say don't watch news, because there's only one now, but I get so irritated.
What I find funny?
With journalism. I mean,
because I was a journalist. I started out as a journalist, and I actually wasn't a sports journalist. I was a police journo for a long time, and then I was a foreign correspondent and stuff. I've sort of come back and gone, I don't know if we have an hour's news. Like, there's this sort of hour-long news show, and it's almost like a game where you say, when are they going to run out? Because when are they doing a story about the pig that got out of the thing or something?
Yeah.
Because we're a small country, don't have a lot of people. We don't have a lot of big news.
Oh, and it's particularly if the weather's good.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you do for
Tonight's
40 minutes?
News is everyone's out at the beach. So, but yeah, I mean, what I'm getting frustrated with a little bit at the moment in sports journalism is journos that sort of start acting like fans, or I suppose it's the same in political journalism where people are taking sides,
Yeah.
A lot of journalists write opinion pieces and columns and stuff like that, and half the time I don't even know who they are.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to really build a CV before you sort of have the right to have a column or an opinion, like that. Have an opinion, but just don't publish it, you know?
And I do think that in certain news and that sort of thing, what I really want you to do is lay out the facts as they've been exposed to you, so that I can then form an opinion.
That used to be the idea.
Yeah, I don't need to hear yours.
But since, again, living in the US, that's not the case.
Yeah.
and you sort of have
But at least it's out there.
Well, you know where they stand. Yeah, you know exactly. They don't hide it. So you sort of have to watch both sides to find out what the truth might be.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But investigative journalism. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but I just spent 2 nights in Australia for work, and I, at night in the hotel, and you switch on the TV, and I was just absolutely mesmerised at an investigative journalist piece on a 60 minutes sort of thing. And I was like, oh, I miss it already.
Yeah.
Like something that actually made me think.
We have some brilliant journalists in this country.
Yeah.
And some of them do some great stuff. But they're really dictated to by what the audience reaction is and what the mass audience reaction is going to be, because when you're driven by clicks, when you're driven by sort of how big your audience is and stuff, you've got to produce output that is going to get that reaction. So I remember I did when I first started at TVNZ in the newsroom, there was a thing called the Maori loan scandal. So basically what happened was a group of Maori businessmen had met some businessmen in Hawaii, and they said that they could give them a massive loan, and it was in the millions of dollars. And somehow Maori Affairs got involved and stuff, and then it was sort of a bit embarrassing because no one was really sure if the loan was real or not. And so Bill Ralston and I was a junior reporter. I was pretty much like a sports reporter who just was interested in the story. And they sent me up to Hawaii to investigate this group of businessmen. And then Bill came up to join me, and we did this. This is before the home show and stuff. We did like a 25-minute piece on the news, and it was really complicated. And I couldn't even understand it, and I was one of the reporters, and we made all sorts of accusations. And then the next day, I had 6 lawsuits.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like a 21-year-old journalist,
wow.
and Billy's going, "Don't worry about it, mate. It'll be all right. This is the price of being a journo. I was like, shit, what am I going to do? I've got no money."
Probably the perfect place to be in having no money.
Yeah. But it was a really interesting experience. I can still see Angela De Ordinary was reading the story, and I remember looking at her face, and she's like, "I can't understand this. It's really complicated."
So New York, you went. How long have you been back?
Back sort of 8 months, something like that.
And you've been running a rugby club there?
Yeah. So there's a professional league in the US called Major League Rugby, and it's really growing. And
it is growing.
Yeah,
I think that was my question. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been going for 5 or 6 years now. A lot of New Zealand players come over. And I was in charge of the New York team, and it's really interesting. It's a rugby job, but it's also a brand building, storytelling job, so you're trying to grow an audience. So it's not a million miles different to what I'd done before. But I loved it. I loved the challenge. The people were amazing. New York's just the greatest city. So yeah, it was a great experience.
But it was time to come home?
Yeah, I just thought I did 4 seasons. 1 season got cut short by COVID. But yeah, I just sort of felt that was, I've done my time.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to chat about your career and about how you managed to be a bit ahead of the game. Okay, this is our advice segment, and I think there are a few things we can explore here. I want to start with you being a pioneer, really, in sports media. And, well, you're like almost ahead of the game in many respects, right? I mean, that's what sports, you were the first ever sports media liaison, weren't you?
Yeah, it was sort of, so the Australians had won the 91 World Cup and had been really successful, and they sort of, when New Zealand played Australia in Dublin in the semi-final, everyone was loving Australia and hating on the All Blacks. And so I wrote a paper for New Zealand Rugby saying, this is quite important. Looking after the media is really important, and you need to sort of replicate this idea. And originally they said no. And then I was doing a documentary with them, and halfway through a tour, and they had done a tour of Australia, and they're getting ready to go back to South Africa. And it was the first time since the lifting of the boycott that the All Blacks had been back. So it was a pretty important time. And I got called into the manager's hotel room at 2 in the morning and stuff. It's amazing how many of my key decisions are in the middle of the night. And they said, "You're right. We're really struggling with the media, and we're going to South Africa, and we're going to cop it if we don't get it right. So you're on board. You start tomorrow."
Wow.
And so I did it.
So what is that job? So you literally liaise with the media. So you're trying to put good stories out there. You're making players become available. You're trying to hear negative stuff that might be coming before it does. You're getting that All Black player that jumped out the window and went and partied at 2 in the morning.
To be honest, when they hired me, I had no idea what I was doing. So I was a journalist, and journalism is quite different to PR. And so I blundered my way through the first tour, and then I decided at the end of that I needed to go and learn about PR, because PR is more about journalism is about capturing the story, whereas PR is more about getting your messages and working out how to get them out.
Yeah.
And managing the players in terms of their media appearances, I mean, that's just basically good manners.
Yeah.
Treating people well, and the media deserve to be treated well. If they putting some sort of strategy in place, having some sort of crisis management skills, so if things do go wrong, you're able to sort of manage that. But I didn't know what I was doing when I first did the job, so I probably only worked it out by the time I left.
Yeah, but that's part of being. I mean, you're one of the first, so you do get to kind of trailblaze a bit and make it up as you go. And
I said to the
there's
manager,
no rule book.
I said to the manager and the CEO of New Zealand Rugby, I said, "What do I do?" And they said, "Well, that's your job to work it out."
Yeah. You know that most of your audience will only liken media liaison in a sports team to Kaylee from Ted Lasso.
Yeah. That's exactly who I look like, actually, which was scary. How
you go around with pink pens.
Yeah, how similar we were.
Fluffy on the outside. Yeah.
And I think, and it was hard for the media because suddenly one of their own was saying, "Sorry, you can't do that interview." Or I was in the middle of their relationship, and it took them a while to come to grips with that, and it was a long time. I was called the media prevention officer for a long time, because suddenly there was another person in the way of their ability to talk to the coach or talk to the players.
Because they used to have direct access, and now they've got you in the middle of it.
Yeah, and then they put me in the middle.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I suppose my whole experience is political and, and obviously journalists and then our own. And, sometimes when they'd ring you direct, I'd go, "Oh, sorry, you have to go through."
My favourite was...
So for that,
So, Willie Jackson. So,
yes.
So Willie was a radio reporter.
Yeah.
On Mana Radio, I think it was. And he rang me up one night, and it was a Friday evening before a test match on Saturday. And back then, the protocols, we didn't do interviews on the Fridays. And he rang me up and he said, "Oh, I want to talk to Frank Bunce." And I said, "Well, mate, you know the rules. Like, it's Friday evening. You can't talk to an All Black on Friday. We shut up shop." He said, "Well, I've already spoken to him." I just rang his room. I said, "Well, why are you ringing me then?"
Yeah. I just been telling you.
He's just telling you I've already done it. I said, "You're supposed to ask permission, not do it, and then tell me you've done it."
Forgiveness, that's what they say. That's what they say.
And he laughed too, and because he'd gone to school with Frank, and so they knew each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, fuck, why'd you bother ringing me?"
Yeah. So being in the middle like that, having been on that, being on the journalist side, I mean, so what did you learn from it? What's that kind of advice that you give to someone that's like trying to sort of be the gatekeeper as well as being transparent and open? And
I think it's really changed. I think, like one of the reasons I started Sports Cafe in 96 is I finished the All Black job in 95 and no one really liked me because I'd been in the middle. So I'd been annoying the players and the coaches because I was saying, "You've got to do this media stuff." And I'd been annoying all the media organisations because I was saying, "No, you can't do that."
Yeah.
So I came out of there and I was like, man, I was like New Zealand's most unpopular man in sport. So, which is not unusual. But now it's changed. I think it used to be like a drafting gate where all the media attention's coming inwards and you're managing who comes in and who doesn't come in.
Yeah.
I think now there's so much competition for attention. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're the Prime Minister or the All Blacks or whatever. You need to connect with your audience. And so now it's an outward job. Now it's looking for opportunities. And if you think of the media, I mean, they're important because they have an audience, but lots of people have audiences now.
Yeah.
So if you're in that role, I think you're looking for opportunities as opposed to managing inward media.
Yeah.
So you're like, how do I get my message out? How do I get people to connect with me? How do I get people? Because when you run a sports team, you're really trying to sell T-shirts and sell tickets. That's your job. That's how you generate revenue and get eyeballs for your sponsors. So you don't get that from sort of saying no to things.
And I suppose just you talking then and me thinking about it, the other thing I often tell people that are either going into politics or thinking about it is that if you're not outward and thinking about it, I don't believe in the kind of the brand stuff, if you like, but I do believe that if you're not, particularly in politics, if you're not careful, other people will write your narrative. Yeah. And it may not be.
Yes.
They're not going to do the most positive narrative in your life, you know what I mean? Like, so, my opposition would have said that I'm a, horrible Tory that pulled up the ladder behind her and hates poor people, you know what I mean? Whereas I would go, I was a solo mother, knew how to struggle, and now I want to make it better for everyone else, right?
So what are you trying to do? You're trying to get your story out.
Yeah.
So you're looking for opportunities and audiences to talk to. So the last thing you need is a media liaison person or a PR person that's saying no to things.
Yeah.
But they might say no to the wrong opportunity, but they've got to look for opportunities, not look for reasons to say no. And I think it's a different mindset now. I think it's like, man, I need to talk to this influencer. I need to talk to this brand. I need to talk to this, podcast. I need to talk to, and I need to look after the Herald reporter. I need to look after the TVNZ reporter. There's a lot of opportunities.
And it's going to keep changing and evolving, right?
Yeah.
In that way. And that, if we were talking a year ago, I would have spoken to you and just said everything needs to be in 30-second and 60-second sound bites. And if you're not, getting the TikTok thing right, then you're out. But actually, I feel like in the last few months, we're equally now seeing a bit of a craving for something a bit more in depth, a combo. So I don't mind seeing the lighter side, and I'd love to see my All Blacks having a bit of fun and doing the blokey good stuff. But I equally would like to know them a little bit better as well.
I think to like someone, you've got to know them. So the first thing you've got to do is, whether it's sport or politics, you've got to work out how you let people know you. And once they get to know you, whether you're an All Black or a politician or whatever, then they've got the ability to like and connect with you.
Yeah. So you're an ideas man, right? So
Yep.
you're creative, you're an ideas man. The difference...
Full disclosure, a lot of the ideas come from John Kirwan.
Well, so where does the ideas come from? But then what you've equally got is the ability to execute. And that's something that not many people do.
So JK and I grew up together.
Yeah.
So we went to school together, played rugby together.
He is an ideas man.
Yeah,
You're
and
right.
so and so quite often he'll give me a call and he calls me Ricardo. He's like, Ricardo, we need to do this.
Yeah.
And then he'll let me work out how to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's my idea, but so a classic was when he was an All Black. He came to me, and I'd give him a little some offcuts of some of the stories I'd done, on a VHS. And he said, we should do a documentary. We should do a behind-the-scenes All Black documentary, but not that they used to do these books. Let's not do a book because no one reads books anymore. This is like the late 80s. Let's do a VHS.
Yeah.
And so we did this thing called The Good, The Bad and The Rugby.
I remember it.
And it went nuts. And we just had no idea about business at that stage. So, we didn't do particularly well out of it, but other people did. But it sold like 100,000 plus copies. It did really well.
Wow.
But that's sort of how we tend to work. We might have a coffee or a beer or something like that.
Since VHS is gone, because that would have been the perfect Father's Day present.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, did well at Father's Day.
Yeah. Now
This gives an idea how old Sports Cafe is. Now they talk about user-generated content. Is it UGC? We used to get people that would hire a video camera, film something onto a VHS, then get another VHS machine, edit it from VHS to VHS, and then mail that entry to us by the post. That's how we used to do our competitions.
Wow.
And we used to do this thing called Nude Day, where people would send us in the footage of themselves doing crazy things naked. And now all these students that were sending in the footage are now lawyers and doctors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Quite often they'll come, hey, that footage from 98, you don't still have that. You couldn't make sure that no one ever sees that.
Yeah. And the difference is that it is on tape. It's not like it's in an electronic.
No, I've digitized all of them. So for all those lawyers and doctors out there, watch out.
Take a breath, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I grew up in the 80s and I think my saving grace of why I could go public was that there weren't cell phones then.
Yeah.
Really going through the fun, crazy stuff. It was just like
It's a lot of pressure on our sort of, younger audience now because they are... I got a really interesting education where I went to a concert and the artist got up on stage. And as soon as the artist got up on stage, everyone started filming themselves at the concert.
Yeah.
And I realised, when you can film yourself, 24/7, you become the star of your own show. Mm. And unless you treat people like that, they're not. They just don't know what to do, So they're all that. When I started,
what do you mean? So you're treating your audience as if they're the star of the show?
they're part of it. Like they're not passive. They don't sit back and applaud when you do something well. That they've got the ability to comment. They've got the ability to send you video. They've got the ability to, be treated like stars. They see themselves as almost equals.
Yeah. Oh, that's quite. I hadn't thought of it like
You've got
that.
to treat them like that, I reckon.
Yeah. It is pretty freaky. You're at a concert and everyone turns their back on the artist.
Yeah.
And
look at me.
Yeah, and record themselves with the artist in the
When I started out in TV, no one knew how to do it. Like no one knew how to film things, edit things, and put things on TV. Now everyone knows how to do it. There's no mystery to it at all.
No.
So, and I still think there's some TV people that sort of pretend that there's a mystery.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, you don't know what we're doing. This is really clever. It's like, yeah, I just did that with my phone.
Yeah. So you started a lot of things, right? So
Yep.
so many different projects. So we talked about the media liaison. We've talked about the good, the bad, and the rugby. We've talked about the sports cafe. You know, the crowd goes wild.
Yep.
I mean, it's another one, right? So how do you discover talent? How do you know who's going to connect and not connect? Because you seem to have a real ability for that as well.
Well, the thing I really enjoy is working out where the audiences are now. So audiences shift all the time, you know. So, you know, when we started Sports Cafe, Sky had 70,000 subscribers, you know, and now they're at 1 million, you know. So when we started, there was no one there, but we knew that it would grow. Same with Crowd Goes Wild. We started that when Prime came out. Now with, you know, now it's YouTube and podcasts and stuff like that because that's where the audience is now. In terms of talent, you know, there's just some people that in an environment that just tend to stand out. They tend to dominate dinner conversations, or people tend to hang on their every word or like them. So I remember running into James McConey, and he'd been working. He'd just been made redundant for the Herald. And he was at a press conference. It was his last day. And I said, oh, you know, come and do some stuff for us. You know, we're doing Crowd Goes Wild. And then straight away you could see that he just had something. He just had something. He just had to refine it in a few different ways, you know, became a star, you know. I mean, Mark Ellis used to sit behind me on the All Black bus. Yeah. So I used to sit next to Sean Fitzpatrick, and then behind me was Macca. And he would just go on and on all day and have us in hysterics. So you just knew he was funny.
Yeah. Well, Julie Christie's a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
And she just went, that guy's talent, you know, it just from day one.
The way his mind works is like just different.
Yeah. So, I mean, you back yourself. Do you back yourself?
Yeah, I'm massive.
You have to, right?
Yeah. I
So where does that kind of confidence come from, do you think?
A blind faith in myself. But I think, like, I have the same... I remember when I was playing rugby at school, the teacher said the worst thing that I think anyone could ever say. I was lining up a conversion from the sideline to win the game. I missed it. And he said to me, Salizzo, you're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
He was my manager. I was like trying to win the game for his team. But that's a really horrible thing to say to someone. You're not as good as you think you are. I just trust... I know that I'm going to get it wrong, and I know that I'm going to make mistakes. And I've done some terrible shows, and I've had, you know, lots of things haven't worked, but I've learned from them. But just trust myself.
Yeah. So what now? What's next, do you reckon?
Well, that's a massive question. I mean, I don't know. I really enjoyed doing what I did in New York because it was something different to what I'd done before. I'm absolutely loving doing the Sports Cafe podcast YouTube show because I'm just getting to hang out with good mates and just have fun. I think, you know, when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you're driven by how do I prove myself to the world? And then you get a bit older and I was going to say wiser, but that's not true. You just get older. And then your motivation changes a little bit, and your motivation changes to how can I just get the most out of life? How can I have the most fun and make that a job?
So why not, eh?
That's what I'm trying to do is like, how can I just have as much fun, influence the things that are important to me, but and make that a job, you know, because I'm like the world's worst handyman. Like I could never have been a carpenter and a plumber. I'm in awe of those people. Yeah. Like, you know, how people can make stuff like that. Like I've never thought of myself as being creative or artistic, you know, which is sort of surprising considering my job.
Because you are. I'm about to disagree with you.
Yeah, but I don't think of myself like that. Yeah. Like, because I can't draw. Yeah. So when I was at school again, I couldn't draw. So I was like, oh, mate, get out of art. You're an idiot, you know. Yeah. So I think I was conditioned to think that like I have no creativity. But like, I don't really know what I do. I just keep doing it.
And we'll wait and see what comes next, because sometimes it's just being open to the opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of exciting in itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've heard perhaps the worst advice you were given, which was you're not as good as you think you are. So to finish the advice segment, what was the best piece of advice?
Just trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Yeah, just trust yourself. And everyone has sort of a small number of people in their lives that are that they trust and that you can talk to and stuff like that. And when they believe in you, you sort of believe in yourself.
To trust yourself, do you need to be able to listen to yourself?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I think like it's a fascinating time at the moment, because like I'm starting to learn about meditation. I'm starting to learn about rewiring your brain. Some of the Buddhist techniques that they use, I find fascinating. Because I've always been pretty driven. I had a bit of a chip on the shoulder, like a lot of people. It's like, you don't think I'm good enough, I'll show you, sort of thing.
And that can get you through some time.
It does.
Sometimes.
It's really important. It's really important.
Yeah,
but then it's really draining.
Underestimate me. Go on then.
Yeah. That's absolutely who I was. Like, I was a pretty loose unit growing up. I failed journalism school because I got in trouble in my first week. I was with a group of people who got arrested for climbing Santa Claus at farmers. They got charged with unlawfully on a building. I got away because I'd lifted them up because I was the tallest, but I hadn't got on the building when the police caught us.
Luck.
I had a few situations where I wasn't the best behaved person in the world, but always when I started to learn to trust myself and realise that I wasn't good at everything, but the things I was good at, and I could just focus on those.
Yeah. I like it, and I like the listening side of it, because I think, I've always had a bit of
Do you talk to yourself?
in my own head and out loud.
I talk to myself all the time.
All the time.
Yep.
And I stop and go, oh, I've been thinking about that.
Do you ever walk along listening to music and dance?
Do I? Oh, see, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I've only learned to enjoy that. So if you see me wandering along with my headphones on, I suddenly stop and dance. I'm having a great time.
Well, I'm lucky because I live out in West Auckland, and we've got a woman out there that dances on the side of the street with her headphones on.
Right.
And anyone from West Auckland will have seen her because she's just on the main road.
It's not you, is it?
No, but she is amazing. Like, she brings you joy, and that's why she does it. So if I see you dancing, walking down the street, it will bring me joy.
Yeah. So I grew up in South Auckland.
Yeah.
And loved it.
Yeah.
And it was such a great place to grow. It was tough, but really, there's a real sense of humour out there.
There is.
Oh man! And some of the funniest people I have been growing up in South Auckland.
Yeah, it would be.
And same, JK is the same. He grew up out there as well.
Fantastic. The podcast is called Ask Me Anything, Ric?
Yep.
So this is your chance to ask me something if you'd like to.
You sort of intimated it before, but I've been away for 4 or 5 years, something like that, and I've come back. And do you think the country has changed?
It's interesting. So I'll reflect back on something you said, which is actually we're all still the same people. Like we're sort of the same as we were in the mid-90s that we are now. And I would kind of agree with that at many levels. I think that society around us has changed, and so we probably question who we are a lot more now. So yes, some things have changed for the better. I think how sexuality, I think gender identity, I think all of those things, I celebrate that we're actually more advanced now, thinking people don't feel as marginalised and they shouldn't.
Yep.
Right? 100%.
Yep.
So I think some of that change is definitely for the better. But as you say, if you'd been stepped away from New Zealand for 4 years and stepping back in, it feels different.
It feels to me like we're a bit scared.
And angry. And then when you're scared, you don't actually go, oh, I'm a bit scared and fearful right now. What you do is you express it generally through anger and Yeah.
And it's almost like people are
Short-tempered.
scared to try stuff, it's like, or push the boundaries or whatever, just in case everyone jumps on them.
Yeah.
So I know when we were starting this, the overwhelming reaction I got from everyone was, oh man, how's that going to survive? You're going to get cancelled within the first week, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, so? Like, why is that a reason not to do something?
Yeah.
But that seemed to be, and I hear that a lot, that sort of, oh man, you can't do that because what if it goes wrong?
Yeah.
Which is the opposite to what I was experiencing when I was in the US. Because in the US, everyone thinks they're a star.
Go for it.
Well, everyone thinks they're going to be massively successful. So they don't care if you're massively successful because I'm going to be successful anyway.
Yeah.
But it just seemed a bit different coming home.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's why I'm asking you because I don't know if
if it's changed or if, because when you asked it, I thought, well, I've just been living it every day, and sometimes that change kind of creeps up on you, as opposed to being able to.
Here's another question. With everything you've been through and changed since you left politics, would you go back into politics today?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even think about that.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely not.
And is that because of who you are now, or is it because of what politics is like now?
A combination of both. I've done it.
Yeah.
So I do think there is elements of been there, done that. So, and I always don't think you should kind of look backwards, particularly in a big job like that. But equally, it takes your life.
Yeah.
And it takes your family's life, and I'm at a stage now where I want to, my mother's not well, so, and it shouldn't be, but it's a luxury to be able to spend time with her.
Yeah.
And if I was in that job, I couldn't.
Yeah.
And the relationship with my kids and my husband and my hobbies and my work and, being able to do things like this. So whereas when you're in politics, it is honestly all-encompassing.
So quite selfish being a politician? Because it has to be all about what you're doing.
All about you.
Yeah.
And then even going and having a cup of coffee, someone's going to talk to you about, whatever it is. And it's just like, so even if you're not on, you're always on.
And I'd imagine being a politician really, you've got two focuses. One is doing what you think is the right thing, what you believe is the right thing. But then the second part is having the ability to do that, you have to get re-elected.
Yeah.
You're constantly trying to sort of balance that between doing the right thing and making sure that you still have the votes to make sure you can keep doing that.
I was doing this Q&A thing, because I still do emceeing and speaking and all that sort of thing. I was emceeing and I said, take questions and, any questions. And someone asked me something and I went, I'm not going to answer that. And he goes, what do you mean you're not going to answer it? I went, I don't really care if you don't like what I said because you don't need your vote anymore.
Yeah. Exactly. But when you're a politician, that's different.
Yeah, I would have fudged around it, right?
Yeah.
Whereas he was like, what are the three things that you're going to judge success on and, on this particular date? And I'm like, I don't know.
The reason I ask is my, so I come from a long Labour family, long line of Labour. So when my great-grandfather was the leader of the unemployed during the Depression.
Yep.
They made sort of a movie about him. And then my grandfather was the deputy mayor of Manukau, and he wanted to be the MP for Mangere, and Labour told me he was going to get it, and at the selection meeting, he was a shoo-in, and then this other guy, this big heavy-set guy, got up and spoke and was this incredible orator. It was David Longy, and so my grandfather got left behind. So I've been asked a couple of times whether I'd put my hat in the ring for Labour.
Yeah.
I just, and I thought about it, I just don't think I'm willing to make the sacrifices.
Yeah. And it is a huge sacrifice, and the public's expectations on you, and having to, go with the party. There was an example, I can't remember when it was, but fairly recent, in the last few months. Once you're over 50, you can say the other day. It could mean 2 weeks ago, or it could mean 2 years ago.
Yeah.
The other day.
Yeah.
But it was a video. Someone had literally walked past and secretly videoed Golriz and Jerry Brownlee having a cup of coffee on the footpath outside a cafe.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like they were doing, they were having a cup of coffee in a public place, but they secretly recorded it, and there it was.
Yeah.
And I was just, that makes me feel ill.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't even trying to hide it, right? Yeah. And then off goes, all the social media on the rights or wrongs of it. And I don't know, yeah.
And I suppose that's the hard thing about being a politician is you have to sort of be, up there really in terms of how you behave, etc.,
Yeah.
etc. And you are held to a fairly high standard, which sometimes can be hard to live up to.
Yeah.
When you're the host of a sports show,
You'd hate it.
the standard's a lot lower.
My advice, don't do it.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I'm not.
Good.
Yeah.
Ric Salizzo, thanks for coming in today.
Sorry to ask 17 questions.
No, it's okay. Ric Salizzo, thanks for coming in today. Where can people find out more from you and Sports Cafe-ish?
Yeah, or Sports Cafe. I mean, we're sort of called Sports Cafe-ish because I didn't want to sort of pretend that we were making the same show, but everyone's just calling it Sports Cafe.
Okay.
YouTube, all podcasts, iHeartRadio, and social media, Instagram.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, go and check it out, guys.
Yeah.
And that's it for another episode of Ask Me
Not
Anything.
MySpace. Our MySpace is shut down at the moment, so we'll be getting that back up.
And that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. If you've enjoyed this episode, please follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio or wherever you get your podcasts. While you are there, check out some of our past episodes. Plenty there to choose from. Some absolutely amazing people. I'll be back next Sunday with another fabulous guest. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask Me Anything. Goodbye.